but there was 77 graduates as LPNs, licensed practical nurse. It takes 18 months. Part of the crew came from Isle of Cross, La Loche, that area. And what happened there was we had presented generically, myself and Victoria, all the opportunities that are in healthcare. So we bring out these inventories. Here's everything they hire. You pick. Okay? And then it'll be up to you to stand in line and compete. But we'll try to get the workplaces ready when you bring your good marks to the table to negotiate them hiring you. And we said, now, in this area, Isle of Cross, there was only 2 jobs at the time open for LPNs in the Q8 and Health District. So we said, know this, people. And this is the argument for there's no Indians in Weyburn and Estevan. Let's know this, that if you miss out on those 2 positions in Q8, 22 years are going to have to move. So don't take the training unless you're prepared to move. This argument that Aboriginal people don't move is garbage. In Wayne, there's no natives working in Weyburn. Well, there was no white people working in northern Saskatchewan, but 5,000 found a job. They came from somewhere because somebody opened the doors for them. Now in Weyburn or whatever, this is what we should be communicating as employers. It's only an excuse that there's no Aboriginal people working in potash. It's only an excuse there's no Aboriginal people working in these other departments. This university, we came here how many years ago? 8, 9, 10? Doreen, do you remember? Okay, you might not believe this, people, but when we first came here, my question to the 54 leaders of the university, and at the time they had 1,600 people. I think you got about 2,800 now? My question was this: how did you hire 1,600 people and not hire 1 Indian when we're 13% of the population? What was your strategy to keep us out? Because you didn't want to get us in. You can't even by accident hire 1,600 people and not hire 1 Aboriginal person. Some of us would have snuck through the lines. These are publicly funded institutions that when you're taking, you're having these graduations and Aboriginal people are standing in line, but yet none of them are offered a job in the same building. Why is that possible? How? Okay, so yeah, we have arguments. Yeah, we're frustrated. Yeah, we're long-winded because we go to all these workplaces and we find all these damn excuses and the arguments, and we know that things could be done. And we know, by the way, those 77 LPNs, there were 77 graduate. Guess how many got a job? 77. Because we opened the doors. People weren't hung up on their ponytails. People weren't hung up because they were numbered up and treated up. They were hired because they were qualified. And that's the way we want it. Now, if we had quotas and targets, people automatically start to use those as ceilings. Even if they say they don't, they do. Okay? And what I wanted to know is if you got 100 jobs like at the casinos or 100 jobs at Shore Gold, they came, the First Nation came and said, we want 50% of the jobs. I said, no, we want to compete for 100%. Why would we lobby for 50% and give away the other 50% to non-Aboriginals free of charge? Why couldn't they tell us in advance what are all the classifications they're going to hire, the skills required? Aboriginal people, I challenge you, let's get ready. If your education is screwed up, then leaders, parents, community leaders, let's go sit down with the Department of Education. Let's train our people to sit on the education boards, and let's make sure that our kids are coming through the system and not have 68% failure, and our people say, TM, it's okay. It's not okay. What do we got to do to wake us up? Because those 52,000 new entries, what are their chances? Nothing's changing. We'll just keep filling up the jails. And by the way, the announcement last month, what was it? $33 billion to build new prisons. But they cut this program for $750,000. And nobody could match our statistics. Nobody. Okay, across this country. Because none of us went there and told those employers, you're going to hire us. We did not. We said, look, that's not your job. Your job is to get ready. I'll try to convince, with your help, to convince our people to spend their training funds on areas where they know there's going to be a vacancy, where they know they can acquire the skills, and they know they can stand in line and bring their good marks to the table and compete with everybody else. That's the arguments that we put forward. So when we were signing agreements, all we're trying to do is broaden the menu. It didn't mean they were totally convinced. School boards near the end wanted a grant. So it wasn't a partnership, it was like a contract. But in school, you know they're all going to start, yeah, we're doing a good job. You know they're going to defend what they do, their careers. The statistics say I'm right. The statistics say that I'm right, that somehow our kids aren't getting the education they deserve. And we're repaying for it in ABE. And ABE is not a replacement for a proper K-12 education. that will give us the skills to go on to SciAS, the First Nation University, or the universities of Canada, where we can challenge and become the leaders of this country. Don't forget, this here says that we can have the jobs, but stay out of the careers. That's what representative workforce started to talk about. No, we need to get involved in the careers, because the careers are the nation-building classifications of this country. That's the leadership. It's in the careers. It's not pick and floor, or pick and shovel jobs or sweeping floors. Okay? So, when we go to these meetings and you see 50% unemployment, it means extreme poverty. That's what it means. Okay? We're prepared to spend $2 billion a year, and it's rising, by the way. That was 5 years ago. The cost is higher now. It would be a good thing if that was the cost right now, but it is higher. So we said that what we need to do is figure out how to get more workplaces involved, how to get more sectors involved, how to challenge the Aboriginal community and its leadership, and how they spend their training funds, and how they educate their kids differently, so that we get different results. Okay, to finish. Again, the strategy was developed by Aboriginal people. Okay? The strategy meant that it wasn't top-down, and it's like the old programs we have now where you have to meet criteria. We wanted to look at how we meet our need. What are the things that we need to do? So we were picking workplaces that Aboriginal people told us to go to, because they said, you got to get out of just the trade argument, because not only we have trouble with education, it's male-dominated. What are all the females going to do in our community? So that's why we selected healthcare, because 80% of the people were female. Okay? But then we went to other classifications. We sat with organized labor. We met with the Aboriginal organizations. We met with community colleges, SciAS. We signed with Michelin Tire across Canada. We signed with London Drugs, Import-Export Association, National Nurses of Unions, a number of major institutions across the country, which we were trying to convince to take the same direction we were. Get your workplace ready, open your doors, properly communicate, challenge the Aboriginal community, so down the road they can't blame nobody but themselves. But if we don't start now, 5 years from now, we'll be sitting up here again. I used to have an afro. I'm here now. We haven't changed. 5 years from now, I'll have less hair. If we keep doing the same thing, we're going to come to meetings and have conferences and go home. We're going to have career paths where we tell you about a few jobs, have a draw, get you a day off school, and all your kids go home not having a hope in hell. Okay? This is where we need to do some work. The unions, we need to sit down with them again and start. It's not enough just to have misconception training. We need to discuss collective agreement language that will benefit us when we go into these workplaces that have collective agreements, to make sure they're not just taking our union dues and then not listening to our issues. We need dispute mechanisms in these workplaces that if we do have a dispute, we can't leave it just up to the shop steward. It has to be that Aboriginal people can have advocates come forward with them and bring their grievances to the table. Okay? That we went and sat with the unions, which they agreed. But you can't leave all this wording sleeping. You can't put the wording in and leave it sleep. You need to have process effort so that it becomes reality and people know how to use it. Okay, these are the differences, the arguments that we were bringing forward. So hopefully, by the way, it was recognized by the Harvard School that the 8 steps that we took were exactly the 8 steps that they used in the Harvard School of Business, that it was the proper process. We were recognized internationally by the organized labor in Geneva and in Canada at the CLC convention that the approach we were taking is not only good for us, but it's good for all peoples. Because if Aboriginal people open the doors, they're open for all doors. Trust me. Because I haven't found a community that's more hated than the Aboriginal people. If we could find one, we wouldn't be in trouble. That's a joke. Come on. Okay. So I guess we're open for questions.
Thank you very much.
That's my presentation. Thank you. Yeah.